Look at me right now. Stop scrolling. Stop thinking about whatever you were just thinking about and listen to me very carefully. I need you to hear what I am about to say to you today, because it is going to change the way you operate in every single relationship, every single conflict, and every single room you walk into for the rest of your life. You have been giving away your power. You have been doing it for years, maybe decades, and you do not even realize it. You think you are being a good person. You think you are being mature. You think you are clearing the air. But what you are actually doing is handing over your dignity to people who have not earned the right to even hold it. I am talking about that urge you get. You know exactly which one I am talking about. That burning, itching, driving urge to respond, to explain yourself, to justify your actions, to prove to somebody else that you are telling the truth. You gotta stop it. You gotta let it go, because the moment you open your mouth to defend yourself against someone who has already made up their mind about you, you have already lost. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a situation where somebody accused you of something? Maybe it was a partner, maybe it was a friend, maybe it was a family member, and they said something about you that was completely off base. It was wrong, it was a lie, and you felt this fire in your chest. You felt this desperate need to sit them down, pull out your phone, show them the receipts, lay out the timeline, explain the context, and make them see that they were wrong about you. So you did it. You spent an hour talking. You spent 2 hours talking. You showed them everything. You laid your soul bare. And at the end of it, they looked at you and said, "I still do not believe you." Or worse, they said, "You are just making excuses." How did that feel? It felt terrible, did it not? It made you feel small. It made you feel foolish. It made you feel like you just ran a marathon for a trophy that did not even exist. That is exactly what you have been doing your entire life. Running marathons for people who are not even at the finish line. Here is the truth that nobody wants to tell you. When someone decides to believe something about you, good or bad, there is absolutely nothing you can say that will change their mind if they do not want to change it. Nothing. You could have a video recording of the exact moment in question. You could have signed affidavits from the president. You could have Jesus Christ himself come down and testify on your behalf. And if that person has decided you are guilty, you are guilty. So why are you fighting? Why are you exhausting your spirit? Why are you losing sleep over people who have already cast you in a role in their own personal movie that has nothing to do with who you actually are? You are trying to prove your innocence to a judge who has already banged the gavel. Walk out of the courtroom. Just get up and leave, because the trial is not about you. It was never about you. It is about their own insecurities, their own projections, their own need to be right, and their own lack of character. And every time you stand there and argue with them, you are just feeding their ego. You are giving them exactly what they want. Think about how much energy you have wasted in your life trying to get people to understand you. How many hours have you spent typing out long paragraphs to somebody who gave you a one-word response? How many times have you laid in bed at night replaying a conversation in your head, thinking of all the things you should have said, all the points you should have made, all the ways you could have proven that you were right? That is a prison. That is literal mental incarceration. You are locking yourself in a cell with somebody who is already asleep. They are not thinking about it. They are not losing sleep. They are not agonizing over it. They dropped the bomb and walked away. And you are sitting there in the rubble trying to put the pieces back together while they are living their life like nothing happened. You have to understand that your silence is not a weakness. Your silence is the most powerful weapon you have. and you have been afraid to use it because society told you that if you do not defend yourself, you look guilty. Society told you that if you walk away from an argument, you are running away. That is a lie. That is one of the biggest lies ever told. Walking away from a foolish argument is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It takes absolutely no discipline to pop off. It takes no self-control to yell back when someone yells at you. Anybody can do that. A child can do that. An animal can do that. It is a basic instinct to react. But to stand there, to look at someone who is trying to provoke you, who is trying to pull you down into the mud with them, and to simply look them in the eyes and say nothing and turn around and walk away, that takes mastery. That takes a level of self-control that most people will never achieve in their lifetime. And when you do it, it messes with their head. I guarantee you it does, because they were expecting you to fight back. They were counting on you to react. Your reaction is their confirmation. They need you to react so they can say, "See, I told you, look how crazy they are acting." But when you give them nothing, when you give them complete and utter silence, they are left standing there talking to themselves. And there is nothing more uncomfortable for a person who is trying to start drama than silence. They hate it. It exposes them. It shows them that their tricks do not work on you. It reveals that they are the only one acting out of line. I need you to really sit with this and let it sink deep into your bones. Your life is too short to be a defense attorney for things that do not matter. You are walking around with a briefcase full of receipts and explanations and justifications for every little thing you have ever done. And you are ready to whip it out at a moment's notice because you are terrified of being misunderstood. But let me tell you something about being misunderstood. It is going to happen. It is a guarantee. If you live long enough, if you interact with enough people, you will be misunderstood. You will be judged unfairly. You will be talked about. You will be lied on. That is the price of admission for being alive. You cannot control what other people think about you. You cannot manage their perception of you. That is a job you were never hired for, and you will never get paid for. So why are you working so hard at it? You are trying to manage the minds of other people while your own life is falling apart. You are worried about what somebody in the grocery store thinks about your outfit while your bank account is struggling. You are worried about what your cousin thinks about your relationship while you are not even happy in it. You have your priorities completely backwards. Let me talk to the people who are in relationships right now, because this is where this lesson hits the hardest. If you are in a relationship and your partner does not trust you, there is no paragraph you can write that is going to make them trust you. If your partner is the type of person who accuses you of cheating every time you take longer than 30 minutes to reply to a text message, explaining that you were in the shower is not going to help you, showing them that you were really in the shower is not going to help you, because the issue is not the shower. The issue is not the 30 minutes. The issue is their own internal chaos. It is their own brokenness. It is their own lack of self-worth that makes them project all of their insecurities onto you. And you can stand there and try to fix their internal chaos until you are blue in the face, and you will die trying. You cannot fix what you did not break. You cannot heal a wound that you did not cause. And when you try, all you are doing is enabling their behavior. You are teaching them that all they have to do is accuse you, and you will jump through hoops to prove your love. You are training them to disrespect you. Think about that. Every time you respond to a baseless accusation with a long explanation, you are sending a message. The message you are sending is that their accusation has validity, because if it was truly ridiculous, if it was truly beneath you, you would not even entertain it. You would look at them like they lost their mind and you would go about your day. But when you engage, when you argue, when you pull out your phone and show them your location and show them your call log and show them your messages, you are telling them that their paranoia is reasonable. You are validating their dysfunction, and they will keep doing it. They will keep escalating because they know it works. They know exactly which buttons to push to get you to dance, and you are dancing. You are doing a whole routine every single time. You gotta stop dancing, you gotta sit down, you gotta let the music play and just watch them spin around the room by themselves. And when they realize you are not going to dance with them anymore, they are going to have to face the music alone. And that is exactly where they need to be. Now I know some of you are sitting there thinking, but if I do not respond, they are going to think I am guilty. So what? So what if they think you are guilty? What does that actually do to your life? Does it change who you are? Does it change your character? Does it change the fact that you know the truth? If you know the truth, why do you need them to know it? What power does their opinion have over your reality? None. Zero. It has no power unless you give it power. The only reason you care if they think you are guilty is because you still care about their approval. You still want them to like you. You still want them to see you as a good person. And I understand that. I really do. We are human beings. We want to be loved. We want to be understood. We want to be accepted. But there comes a point in your life where you have to decide that your own peace of mind is more important than somebody else's opinion of you. You have to decide that your own mental health is more valuable than being right in an argument. You have to decide that you are no longer willing to set yourself on fire just to keep somebody else warm. Let me tell you what happens when you really master this. When you truly get to a place where you can look at someone who is trying to provoke you and you give them absolutely nothing, your entire life changes. It starts with your relationships. Your relationships will clean themselves up real fast. Because the people who are only in your life because they can manipulate you, because they can control you, because they can get a reaction out of you, those people will leave. And when they leave, you will panic at first. You will think you are losing something. You will think you made a mistake. But give it 30 days, give it 60 days, and you will look around and realize that your life is quiet. Your mind is clear. You are sleeping better. You have more energy. You have more time. Because you are not spending 3 hours a day defending yourself against ghosts. The people who truly love you, the people who actually know your character, they do not need you to prove anything to them. They know you, they trust you. And if there is ever a misunderstanding between you and someone who truly loves you, it gets resolved in 5 minutes because both people are coming from a place of good faith, not a place of ego. But the people who are constantly demanding that you prove yourself, those are not your people. Those are your captors. They are holding your emotional freedom hostage, and every time you try to explain yourself, you are paying the ransom. And the ransom never ends. There is always another accusation. There is always another misunderstanding. There is always another test, because it was never about finding the truth. It was always about control. They want to control your emotions. They want to control your time. They want to control your energy. And the only way they can do that is if you keep engaging. The moment you go silent, they lose all control. They have nothing. They are standing in front of a brick wall. And that is a beautiful thing to witness. Not because you are trying to be cruel, not because you are trying to punish them, but because you are protecting your own peace. You are guarding your own territory. You are saying, this is my mind, this is my energy, and you do not have access to it anymore. I revoke your access. Your key no longer works here. I want you to think about the most powerful person you know. Not the loudest person, not the person who argues the most powerful person. Think about how they operate. Think about how they handle conflict. Think about how they handle gossip. Think about how they handle accusations. They do not say much, do they? They do not get on social media and write a novel defending themselves. They do not call up everybody they know and try to get people on their side. They just keep living. They keep moving. They keep building. And everybody around them watches in awe, because they seem untouchable. They seem unbothered, and you know why they seem unbothered, because they are unbothered. They have mastered the art of not giving a damn about the wrong things. They have figured out something that you are just now learning, which is that your response to nonsense determines how much nonsense you will continue to receive. If you feed a stray cat, it will keep coming back. If you feed drama, drama will keep coming back. If you feed gossip, gossip will keep coming back. Starve it, starve the whole thing. Let it die on its own. Some of y'all are so deep in this people-pleasing mindset that you do not even know who you are anymore. You have changed the way you talk based on who you are around. You have changed the way you dress based on who might see you. You have changed your opinions based on what you think the room wants to hear. You are a chameleon. You are shape-shifting every single day just to avoid conflict, just to avoid somebody looking at you sideways, just to avoid somebody having a negative thought about you, and it is exhausting you. I can see it in your face. I can hear it in your voice. You are tired. You are tired of performing. You are tired of explaining. You are tired of walking on eggshells around people who do not even walk on eggshells around you. You are holding yourself to a standard that nobody else in the room is holding themselves to. You are being the bigger person so much that you are shrinking, and you wonder why you feel small. You feel small because you keep making yourself small to accommodate other people's insecurities. You need to take your space back. You need to take your voice back, but not the voice that argues, not the voice that explains. You need to take back the voice that says no. The voice that says I am done. The voice that says this conversation is over. The voice that says I do not owe you an explanation, because you do not. You do not owe anybody an explanation for how you live your life. You do not owe anybody a justification for the decisions you make for yourself and your family. You do not owe anybody a proof of your pain, your struggle, your hard work, or your success. Nobody is entitled to your story. Nobody is entitled to your receipts. Nobody is entitled to the behind-the-scenes footage of your life. You get to decide what you share, when you share it, and who you share it with. And if somebody demands more than you are willing to give, that is their problem, not yours. Your only responsibility is to be true to yourself. Your only responsibility is to look in the mirror at the end of the day and know that you did not compromise your character to make somebody else comfortable. Let me shift gears for a minute and talk about the workplace, because this happens there too. A lot of you are dealing with this at your job right now. You have a coworker who always throws you under the bus. You have a boss who always questions your methods even though your results are consistently good. You have people in your professional life who are threatened by your competence, so they try to minimize your contributions. And what do? You write long emails defending your process. You stay late to redo work that was already done right just to prove that you did it right. You bend over backwards to document every single thing you do, so that when somebody questions you, you can pull out your little folder and show them. Do you know what that looks like? It looks like insecurity. It looks like you are struggling, and the people who are trying to undermine you, they see it. They know they are getting under your skin. They know they are rattling you. Because a person who is truly confident in their work does not need to over-explain it. A person who is truly competent lets their work speak for itself. The results are the proof, the numbers are the proof. The finished product is the proof. You do not need to add a commentary track to your life explaining every scene. Let people watch the movie and figure it out for themselves. There is a concept that I want you to really wrap your mind around. It is called the power of the unbothered, and it is not about being cold. It is not about being mean. It is not about being detached in an unhealthy way. It is about being so grounded in who you are that nothing outside of you can shake what is inside of you. When you know who you are, when you know what you stand for, when you know your own heart, an accusation does not devastate you. It annoys you maybe, but it does not devastate you, because you know the truth, and the truth is enough for you. You do not need a jury of your peers to validate the truth. You do not need a consensus. You do not need a committee meeting. You just need your own integrity. And if your integrity is intact, everything else is noise. Literal noise. And you do not argue with noise. You do not try to reason with noise. You just turn down the volume. You put in earplugs. You walk in the other direction. You let the noise play out in the background while you focus on things that actually matter. What actually matters, your growth, your peace, your family, your goals, your health, your legacy, those things matter. Whether your coworker thinks you are a kiss-up does not matter. Whether your ex thinks you are the bad guy does not matter. Whether your extended family thinks you have changed does not matter. Of course you have changed. You are supposed to change. That is called growing up. That is called evolving. If you are the exact same person you were 5 years ago, you have wasted 5 years. So let them talk. Let them say you changed. Let them say you are different. Let them say you are acting funny. Good. I hope I am acting funny. I hope I am acting different, because the old me was a doormat. The old me was a people pleaser. The old me was exhausted from carrying other people's emotions. So yes, I am different, and I am not apologizing for it. And I am definitely not going to sit here and explain to you why I am different. If you cannot see the growth, if you cannot celebrate the evolution, then you were never rooting for me in the first place. You were rooting for the version of me that was easy to control, and that version is dead. She is gone. He is gone, and they are not coming back. Some of you are holding onto relationships that are poisoning you because you are afraid of what people will say when you leave. You are afraid of being the villain in their story. Let me tell you something about being the villain. Every great story has a villain, and the villain is always defined by the hero. The person who left the toxic situation is always the villain to the person who wanted to keep the toxic situation going. Always the person who sets a boundary is always the bad guy to the person who benefited from there being no boundary. Always. So if you set a boundary and somebody calls you selfish, that is confirmation that the boundary was needed. If you walk away from a toxic relationship and your ex tells everyone you are crazy, that is confirmation that you made the right decision. Because healthy people do not call you crazy for leaving. Healthy people respect your decision. Healthy people wish you well. Only unhealthy people try to assassinate your character on the way out. And you should not be surprised by it. You should expect it, and when it happens, you should handle it with complete and total silence, because anything you say will be used against you. Anything you say will be twisted. Anything you say will give them more material to work with, but silence? Silence gives them nothing. Silence leaves them talking to a wall, and eventually even the craziest person gets tired of talking to a wall. I also need to address the people who are dealing with family drama, because family is the hardest area to apply this in. When a stranger accuses you of something, it is easy to brush off. When a coworker talks about you, you can separate yourself. But when it is your mother, your father, your sibling, your aunt, your uncle, it cuts different. Because these are people who raised you. These are people who you have known your entire life. And when they misunderstand you or misjudge you, it hurts on a different level. But the principle remains exactly the same, maybe even more so, because family will use your love against you. They will use your loyalty against you. They will say things like, "After all I have done for you, you are going to treat me like this." Or, "I am your mother, you owe me an explanation." No, you do not. You do not owe your family an explanation for how you choose to live your adult life. Respect is not earned by title. Respect is earned by behavior. Just because somebody shares your bloodline does not give them a free pass to disrespect you, to manipulate you, or to cross your boundaries. And if you would not tolerate a behavior from a stranger, you should not tolerate it from a family member. In fact, you should hold your family to a higher standard, not a lower one. But so many of you are trapped in these family cycles where you are the designated scapegoat. You are the one who always gets blamed. You are the one who always has to apologize even when you did nothing wrong. You are the one who always has to be the bigger person because that is the role they assigned to you when you were a child, and you have been playing the role ever since. You are 30 years old, and you are still acting like a scared kid trying to get your parents' approval. You are 40 years old, and you are still letting your siblings treat you like you are less than them. At what point do you say enough? At what point do you look at them and say, "I love you, but I am no longer participating in this dynamic. I am no longer going to be the punching bag for this family unresolved trauma. I am no longer going to carry the weight of your projections." You can be mad at me. You can cut me off. You can talk about me at every family gathering. But I am not going to stand here and take it anymore. And I am certainly not going to explain myself to you, because you have had decades to understand me. And if you still do not get it, you are never going to get it, and I have made peace with that. I pray that you make peace with it too. Let me talk about social media real quick, because this is a whole other beast. Social media has created a culture where everybody feels entitled to an explanation for everything. You post a picture and somebody asks why you look different. You post an achievement and somebody asks how you got it. You post your new partner and somebody asks what happened to your old one, and people actually respond. People actually get in the comment section and write whole paragraphs explaining their life choices to complete strangers. People who do not pay your bills, people who do not pray for you, people who do not even like you, people who are just sitting on the toilet scrolling through their phone looking for something to be mad about, and you are in the comment section giving them a press conference. You are holding a queue and a session for people who do not matter. Why? Because you are addicted to validation. You are addicted to being understood. You are addicted to clearing your name. But your name does not need to be cleared in a comment section. Your name does not need to be cleared on a platform that will forget you exist in 24 hours. Let them wonder, let them assume, let them talk. Your life is not a public record. Your personal business is not public domain. Every detail of your life does not need a caption, a disclaimer, or a footnote. The most attractive quality a person can have is mystery. Not games, not manipulation. Mystery, there is a difference. Mystery is when you simply do not share everything. Mystery is when you let people be curious about you. Mystery is when your actions speak so loud that words are unnecessary. And in a world where everybody is oversharing, where everybody is posting their every thought, their every feeling, their every argument, their every meal, the person who says nothing is the most powerful person in the room. The person who does not post their relationship drama is the person whose relationship lasts. The person who does not announce their goals before they achieve them is the person who actually achieves them. The person who does not respond to hate is the person who the haters fear the most, because they cannot figure you out. They cannot predict you. They cannot control you. You are a moving target. And people who need to control others cannot stand a moving target. They want you to be predictable. They want you to be reactive. They want you to be consistent in your inconsistency. They want to know that if they poke you, you will bleed. But when you stop bleeding, when you become impenetrable, they lose interest. They move on to somebody else who will give them the reaction they are looking for. I need you to understand the psychology behind this. When someone tries to provoke you and you do not respond, it creates cognitive dissonance in their brain. Their brain is expecting a certain outcome. They push your button, they expect you to yell. That is the pattern. That is what they are used to. When you do not yell, when you do not cry, when you do not explain, when you do not react, their brain cannot compute it. It does not make sense to them. And rather than admitting that they are the problem, they will usually double down. They will try harder. They will say something even more outrageous. They will do something even more extreme to try to get that reaction out of you. And this is where most people break. This is where most people fail, because the escalation is uncomfortable. It is deeply uncomfortable to have someone in your face saying the most vile things about you and just standing there. But you have to hold the line. You have to get through that wave of escalation. Because once they realize that no matter what they do, you are not going to give them what they want, they will collapse. They will exhaust themselves, they will look foolish, and they will walk away. But you have to be stronger than their dysfunction. You have to be more disciplined than their chaos. You have to be the adult in the room even when they are acting like a toddler throwing a tantrum. And how do you handle a toddler throwing a tantrum? You do not reason with them. You do not argue with them. You do not explain to them why they cannot have the cookie. You just let them cry. You let them wear themselves out. And then you move on. This is emotional maturity. This is what it looks like. It is not glamorous. It is not fun. It is not exciting. It is quiet. It is heavy. It requires a tremendous amount of internal strength. But it will save your life. I am not being dramatic when I say that. Carrying the weight of other people's opinions, carrying the burden of constantly defending yourself, carrying the stress of unresolved arguments that kills you slowly. It kills your spirit, it kills your joy, it kills your health. It shows up in your body as high blood pressure, as headaches, as insomnia, as anxiety, as depression. Your body knows when you are in constant defense mode. Your nervous system knows when you are constantly under attack, even if the attack is just words, even if the attack is just a text message, even if the attack is just a look. Your body does not know the difference between a physical threat and an emotional one. It responds the same way. It goes into fight or flight. And if you are always in fight or flight, you are always sick. You are always tired. You are always on edge. And the only way to get your nervous system to calm down is to remove yourself from the battlefield. You have to stop fighting battles that do not matter. You have to stop showing up to wars that you did not start. You have to lay down the weapons of explanation and justification and proof and just walk away. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking, but what about the times when I really did something wrong? What about the times when I made a mistake and I actually do owe somebody an explanation? That is a fair question, and I want to be clear about something. There is a difference between accountability and people-pleasing. There is a difference between taking responsibility and begging for forgiveness. If you genuinely wronged someone, if you hurt someone, if you made a mistake that impacted another person, yes, you should own that. You should say, I was wrong, I apologize, and here is what I am going to do to fix it. But you say it once. You say it clearly. You say it with sincerity, and then you stop. You do not keep apologizing. You do not keep explaining. You do not keep groveling. You do not keep begging them to forgive you. Because once you have taken responsibility, the rest is on them. They get to decide if they want to accept your apology or not. And if they do not, that is their right. But you do not get to torture yourself for the rest of your life trying to convince them that you are sorry. Guilt is a useful emotion when it leads to change. But guilt that goes on forever, guilt that you carry like a backpack full of rocks, that is not accountability. That is self-punishment, and you do not need to punish yourself. Life will punish you enough without your help. I also want to talk about the people in your past who still have real estate in your head. You know who I am talking about. The ex who did you dirty, the friend who betrayed you, the boss who fired you, the person who spread a rumor about you years ago. And even though they are no longer in your life, you are still arguing with them in your head. You are still coming up with the perfect response to something they said to you 3 years ago. You are still rehearsing a speech that you are never going to deliver to a person who is never going to hear it. How long are you going to do this? How long are you going to let ghosts haunt you? The person has moved on. They are living their life. They might not even remember what they said to you. And here you are, years later, still carrying the weight of a conversation that ended a long time ago. You have to let it go. You have to release it, not for them, for you, for your own sanity, for your own future. Because as long as you are holding onto the past, you cannot fully embrace the present. As long as you are still fighting old wars, you do not have the energy to fight new ones. And you have new battles to fight. You have new mountains to climb. You have a new life to build. But you cannot build a new life with old tools. And defending yourself is an old tool. It is a tool that does not work anymore. It is a hammer when you need a screwdriver. Put it down. Pick up something new. Pick up silence. Pick up boundaries. Pick up self-respect. I want to share something with you that might be uncomfortable to hear, but you need to hear it. The reason you feel the need to constantly explain yourself is because deep down you do not fully trust yourself. If you trusted yourself completely, if you had absolute unwavering confidence in your own decisions, you would not care if anybody else understood them. Think about that for a second. When you are absolutely sure about something, when you know in your bones that you made the right choice, does it bother you if somebody disagrees? No, it does not even register. You just nod and keep it moving. But when you are unsure, when you are shaky, when there is a little voice in the back of your head whispering maybe I made a mistake, that is when the opinions of others become unbearable. Because they are feeding that little voice. They are amplifying your own doubt. And instead of dealing with your own doubt, instead of sitting with it and resolving it, you try to silence it by getting other people to agree with you. You try to silence your own internal uncertainty by gathering external validation, but it never works. Because the external validation is temporary. As soon as the person walks away, the doubt comes back. As soon as you are alone with your thoughts, the question returns. Did I do the right thing? Should I have done it differently? And you are back at square one. The only permanent cure for self-doubt is self-trust. And you build self-trust by making decisions and standing by them. Even when people question you, even when people criticize you, even when people do not understand, you make a decision and you say, this is my decision and I am standing by it. And then you let the chips fall where they may, and sometimes you will be wrong. Sometimes you will make a mistake. And that is okay. That is part of life. But you will learn more from making a wrong decision and owning it than you will ever learn from making the right decision and constantly second-guessing yourself. Confidence is not about being right all the time. Confidence is about being wrong and handling it with grace. Confidence is about making a decision and saying, if this turns out to be a mistake, I will deal with it. But I am not going to spend the next 6 months defending this decision to everybody in my life. I made it. It is done. We are moving forward, and if you want to come with me, and if you do not, stay there. But I am not going to stand at the door trying to convince you to come with me. That is confidence. That is power. That is the energy you need to be operating from. Let me bring this all together for you, because I have been talking for a while, and I want to make sure you walk away from this with something you can actually use. I want you to imagine a scenario. Tomorrow morning you wake up, you check your phone. There is a message from someone in your life who constantly pushes your buttons. And the message is an accusation. It is unfair. It is untrue. It is designed to get you to react. Under normal circumstances, you would immediately start typing. You would type out a paragraph, delete it, type out another paragraph, add a screenshot, add another paragraph. Send it and then stare at your phone waiting for a response. And your whole morning is ruined. Your whole day is ruined. Your energy is drained before you even get out of bed. But tomorrow is going to be different. Tomorrow you are going to look at that message. You are going to read it. You are going to feel that familiar fire in your chest, that urge to defend yourself, that urge to explain, and you are going to take a deep breath, and you are going to put your phone down. You are going to get out of bed. You are going to brush your teeth. You are going to make your coffee. You are going to go about your day, and you are not going to respond. Not in the morning, not in the afternoon, not in the evening, not tomorrow, not the next day, not ever. And while you are going about your day, living your life, taking care of your business, that person is going to be staring at their phone, waiting for a response. And they are not going to get one. And they are going to send another message, and they are not going to get a response. And they are going to call, and they are not going to get an answer. And for the first time in your relationship with this person, the power dynamic has shifted. They no longer have the remote control to your emotions. They no longer have the ability to ruin your day with a few keystrokes. You have taken your power back. You have reclaimed your energy. You have drawn a line in the sand that says, I am no longer available for this. And the freedom you will feel in that moment, the lightness you will feel in your chest, the clarity you will feel in your mind, it is going to be better than any argument you could have ever won. Because you did not win an argument, you won your freedom, and there is no comparison. There is no argument, no point proven, no receipt shown, no truth revealed that is worth more than your freedom. You have spent years being a prisoner to other people's opinions. You have spent years being a slave to the need to be understood. You have spent years carrying a burden that was never yours to carry, and today is the day you put it down. Today is the day you set it down and walk away and do not look back. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to post about it. You do not need to tell anybody. You just start living differently. You just start responding differently. You just start carrying yourself differently, and people will notice. They will notice that something has changed. They will notice that you are different. They will ask you what happened. They will ask you why you are so quiet. They will ask you why you do not engage like you used to, and you will just smile. Because you know something they do not know. You know the secret. You know the cheat code. You know that silence is not the absence of power. Silence is the presence of power. And once you experience it, once you truly experience the freedom of not having to explain yourself to anybody, you will never go back. You will never go back to the old way of living. You will never go back to the arguments. You will never go back to the explanations. You will never go back to the proof, because you will have tasted something that is too sweet to ever give up. And that is the peace that comes from knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone else define you. So this is my challenge to you. Starting today, starting right now, I want you to go on a response diet. I want you to fast from explaining yourself. For the next 30 days, I want you to practice the discipline of silence. When somebody says something about you that is not true, say nothing. When somebody questions your decision, say nothing. When somebody tries to pull you into a drama that does not belong to you, say nothing. When somebody accuses you of something, say nothing. Just watch, just observe, just breathe, and let the silence do the work. Let the silence be your shield. Let the silence be your sword, because silence cuts deeper than any words ever could. Silence speaks louder than any argument ever will. In silence, true silence, the kind that comes from a place of absolute self-knowledge and absolute self-respect, that kind of silence will change your life in ways you cannot even imagine right now. It will open doors you did not know were closed. It will close doors that should have been closed a long time ago. It will bring the right people into your life, and it will push the wrong people out. And it will leave you standing in the center of your own life, finally, after all these years, completely and totally free. That is the power of silence. That is the power of knowing who you are. And that is the power that has been inside of you this entire time, just waiting for you to stop talking long enough to feel it.